we have HP Inc., and they will have a presentation on 2021, the future of the classroom. And we have Mark Fenson who will be doing their presentation. So Mark, over to yourself. I'll be personally very interested in this session, coming from a long background in education myself. It'll be very interesting to see where this one goes. Thanks very much.
So will I. No, I'm kidding. All good to go, and really excited to be here. I'm remembering back to 2019, where I think I was dreading a red-eye flight from Perth to Brisbane to present at 8:30 with you guys, and now I'm kind of looking forward to going 5 kilometres. So times have changed, and we're no more so than we're seeing in the IT industry. You've seen the whole conversation from the cloud now down to the end-user compute. And I'm not just talking today about the future of schools, or I'm also going to sort of transition through a whole of that future of work, future of skills. And I first start my conversations with a lot of customers about where you're going to and what's next. And at HP, we kind of look at the 3 workloads. Sorry, I'm also joined by Stephen Shaw and Daniel Cogran, both based in Queensland. I'm based in Sydney, and they're available to help you guys out if any questions pop up as well. So at HP, we look at the future of work and that 3 tenets of transformation, where you start looking at the workforce of the future, the workplace, and the work style. There's a 4th one of the workflow of the future and how you can accelerate your workflow. But when we start looking at things like the workforce, it's constantly changing. Last year, we had 6 different generations in the workforce, and that millennial workforce now is represented at 50% of the workforce. So it is a growing space, and each of 6 of those different generations all procure and consume information completely different. 2020, we also saw that change of the workplace of the future. Well, where is work now? And how do we have that work style? And it will never be the same again. People prefer to work from home. But then it rises so many more issues, which a lot of the other presenters have risen today, with how do you maintain that support and help your diverse fleet now? And how do you keep people engaged? Huge importance in the engagement of employees now that we're all remotely. I know HP, I'm a workplace mental health first aider. You see that transition into the supporting people from wherever they are. And that work style is now completely different. That journey of each week is home, video conference, and occasionally putting a office collaboration session in. I call it the bell curve of work. Monday, Friday, I'm working at home. Tuesday, Thursday, that's a flip of a coin. Wednesday, everyone's in the office. Driving around Sydney, it is like Wednesday, yeah, it's going to take you an hour and a half to get into the city. Friday, it's 23 minutes. It's that bell curve, it's that changing. And this is the way people want to work. In Sydney at the moment, it's a little bit different. That office collaboration's completely gone. So there's more video conferencing than anything, and present case included today. But this is the way that life's now changing. People are working to the style that they want to work. Now, why am I talking about work? Because this is our future point. This is where we go from the classroom of the future to the campus of the future to the office of the future, and how people's experiences with technology changes. Gartner's going out and saying that to get over this post-COVID recession, that you need to do investment into technology to grow the business rather than sit, try and cut back costs, try and cut everything, because this is where it is. And this is also across the classroom as well. We need to remember that students now, 65% of students will be entering primary school today, will ultimately have a job that isn't created yet. These don't exist. This is exactly where things are shifting to. Now, when we see that shift, it is a huge difference between 2019 and now in both work and learn. And I call 2020 the year of adaptability. This is where we saw people being mostly office-centric, some mobile, to now being home experts or completely adaptable to whatever space they move in. Now, I've been doing my role now for about 5 years, so I've been that home expert for a long time and have a great setup here. I'm one of those people that don't really like going in the office because I don't have my own setup there. I don't have a desk. I've got a shared space. That's not the type of environment I want to go into post-pandemic. So at HP, we need to be very mindful of all these different users. And we need to consider office mobility, going from the cafe, going from the desk space, going to the front desk, being completely mobile and having the right technology to have that solution everywhere. But we also need to be mindful of that campus mobility. being able to go from the front desk to the library, to be able to be connected and secure everywhere you go. But the new one at the moment is micro-mobility, being able to move and shift around your own house to be able to have the connected collaboration that you need to have these days. Going from the couch where the kids are screaming to watch Thomas the Tank Engine to the garage where you have your quiet time and probably cry sometimes just to get away from the kids. I know what it's like. I've got 2 kids homeschooling. I need to sort of tell them to get out of the room just so I can have my own peace and quiet for presentations. So this is where we need to be extremely mindful about how we can have products designed for these type of spaces. And when we start shifting, we've gone from that contact-centric learning where kids are all in a row looking at each other, learning the set sort of curriculum, to student-centered learning, having that controlled space, having them collaborating in open plan spaces. And that's very much like a new way of working. Open spaces, collaborating, but again, from anywhere. People want to work from home. People want learning from home is a flip of a coin these days. The device needs to be secure, whether you're in the classroom, on the campus, or at home, or in the office. And you need to be constantly connected. Seeing 5G grow, seeing different ways of connecting, growing all across the campus and the office space. So at HP, and my phone has just started ringing, of course, hasn't rang all morning, but when I present, it's always the way. But at HP, we're looking at different types of technology, and I'm going to touch on some of them today in what's now starting to be included with our products. And a new one is our HP Wolf Security. Now, I don't have time to go through every piece of this, but this is where we're starting to secure the endpoint, providing zero trust, but still being able to be productive. This is a really big, important key, giving you zero trust, protecting the endpoint, as well as giving you productivity. It's a fine line balance to play, but we do it with the HP Wolf Security, and it goes from starting up the device to working on the device anywhere, anytime. Another big one is collaboration. As you can see, we're all collaborating. We're now starting to improve the way to be heard, having AI-based noise suppression, 360 voice tracking and anti-howling. So when you're back in the office or a child's in the classroom, they don't walk in connected to the same meeting and have that whoop, whoop, whoop sound. But I'm going to show you a video on our AI-based noise suppression. It's a fantastic product, and it really does accelerate that idea of what a good call is.
This is a demo of HP's AI-based noise reduction. So I'm going to simulate a few noises for you that you might run into in your environment with the cancellation turned off. Then I'm going to turn it on, and so you can hear how it's actually removing that noise from your conference calls. I'm going to start with a chip bag. So as you can tell, that's pretty loud. That's how it sounds whenever I eat on my conference calls. And of course, I have a mechanical keyboard because I like to make noise. And it's very distracting during, a long conference call. We also all have barking dogs in our neighborhood. We probably have, dogs ourselves that like to just howl while we're on a conference call. So I'm going to have a simulated video for that. Yeah, so that's all pretty distracting to hear while you're on a conference call. Now I'm going to turn on the noise cancellation, and let's hear how it's removing that from our environment. So this is with noise cancellation turned on. I'm going to do the bag again. As you can hear, it's doing a really good job of removing it from my environment, as well as reducing it while I'm talking. And now the keyboard. It's almost non-existent. And finally, the barking dog.
So you can hear that it picks it up and then suppresses it out of the call. Now, I didn't know my next door neighbor liked to mow, cut his hedge, do a whole heap of garden work until I started working from home. And my window was right next to his back lawn. But it suppresses it out of the call. I had cleaners come to my house when they could, and they arrived half an hour early, and I was on an event like this. And of course, they had to start vacuuming in the room right next to me. So I'm shouting like an absolute moron, and no one on the call could actually hear me because it didn't get picked up. It was only focused on my voice. So this is where collaboration is key. And this is where the technology is starting to go to. Yes, Zoom and Teams is now starting to have their own software built, but this is at the hardware level. Another really cool technology for security is HP Presence Aware. Now, this is where I'm able to have the presence of nature that I can walk away, my device keeps me secure.
Right now, the PC can detect that I'm in front of it and working. But if I move away, a presence detection sensor in the top bezel detects that I've moved away from my PC and I'm no longer working. It will dim the display, which can save power, and then it will lock it to protect my data and information. This keeps everything on my PC secure when I step away. However, in order to keep me productive, if I walk back up, it detects my presence and then uses Windows Hello to authenticate and log me back in.
So what's really great here is the security of walking away from a device. So if a teacher needs to go and help a student, it can lock itself. If you need to move around the office, go to the bathroom, whatever, it can lock itself. So when you come back, it will detect me if I'm there, but if I'm not authenticated with Windows Hello on that device, it won't let me in. So that's where that security aspect. The second part I like about this is it puts it into a low power state, meaning it's great for the battery life and great for the environment. And I'll talk more about that a bit later. But when we get back to that reinventing the classroom, we really need to start looking at the long-term impact of the way schools are approaching learning. Like, we need to make sure that they are constantly getting trained, the teachers in the forefront of these type of products, but not just training the teachers, but also training the students and the parents, so that we have a team network there that can help fix any dramas that arise, that keep people productive and keep people learning, and having robust plans and investment into the technology to make sure that students are learning from wherever they are. And we're seeing such a rapid evolution of education at the moment that it really is starting to progress quickly. You can see that there's updates coming from Zoom and Teams nearly on a weekly, monthly basis, just to keep at the forefront of how we can get this. And Zoom's one in particular where it's now putting a focus section into it, so that students can only see the teacher. They can't see other students. They can't see that bully that picks on them through social medias. It gives them that focus back to the teacher and sharing the content they want. Now, I'm going to show you a bit of a case study of what's happening in the US, where it's a bit on the further extreme than what we're experiencing here in Australia. But I think it gives you an idea of where education could be heading to in this hybrid teaching solution, where that option between school and home is becoming more commonplace.
The pandemic very quickly shifted us to a virtual model, pretty much overnight. We wanted to provide a learning environment for our virtual students that mirrored the experience of our in-person students. And we didn't want our families to feel that they needed to sacrifice the quality of their child's education in exchange for their safety. We really did not know if it existed. We just felt like we owed it to our students to go find it.
And they described their challenges of being able to start their school year with a hybrid type of learning environment. We just started collaborating, discussing the requirements for the classroom, the requirements for the teachers, the requirements for the in-class students, as well as the remote students.
It wasn't as cookie cutter as some of the other solutions, which allowed us to become more creative and pick and choose the technology that we wanted to integrate with the HP solution.
The solution was anchored around the HP Elite Slice G2 with Microsoft Teams Room. Attached to that are various AV peripherals. There's a teacher camera that can see 180 degrees, so can see the entire front of classroom no matter where the teacher moves. There's also a content camera. There's a touchscreen controller. It's just one touch to start classes.
The content camera is really cool because of the fact that I can have it focus on my whiteboard. And what's crazy is there's an enhancement in the camera that allows me to go to the board and write. And as I write, it makes me translucent, and then the words pop onto my back basically, and I can go back and start writing, and the kid continues to see the words on the board.
If kids are sick or are away from school for any reason, these classes can be recorded and can be seen remotely. Or if they're sick, but they can still get onto their laptop or desktop, they can still participate live being remote.
2 out of the 3 options to return to school are virtual, so we've given our parents options. What it does for us is it limits the number of students who are back in our buildings, but we're still giving choice to our families so that they can do what's best for their families to meet their needs.
As the pandemic sort of lifts away and you start getting back into this idea of having traditional school, if we still have this type of technology where we can engage students who are at home for whatever reason, but I can walk the room at the same time and come back in and out of the camera's view, and the camera just keeps picking me up. It's gonna be nice.
Our students are using it now K to 12. So imagine a kindergartner using technology that is actually being used in the workplace. I think it's going to place them at an advantage because they'll know how to use it seamlessly.
We have done a fantastic job of providing an experience that, as closely as possible, resembles the physical experience. So I'd certainly recommend the solution to other schools looking to implement virtual learning and providing the best education possible for their students.
Our families and families across the globe are really struggling about the decision to send their children back to school. We wanted to make that an easy decision. Knowing that we have the technology to do it now, that's what makes me smile, because every parent wants their child to be safe. This is the way that we can provide it.
The big one I like here is that the teacher's not impacted by technology. Technology is blended into the background. They can then teach and be extremely expressive and teach like they want to teach their curriculum without the impact of technology getting in the way. And the in-room experience very much mirrors the home-based experience and allows for safer environments for their students and for their employees. So this is where HP really wants to focus on the end user experience. And we need to create technology that makes life better for everyone, everywhere. And we start by making our devices clean and green. What does that mean? It means our devices can be sanitized. Sanitizable in the fact that it can be wiped down, and also sustainable. When you start saying you're from a PC and a print manufacturer, you start getting the dirty looks of your ink and toner end up in landfills, your papers cutting down the forest. But we do a lot around this to try and lead in how we can best create products that have minimal impact to the environment. When we start talking about sanitizable, it's gone are the days where students used to share devices or used to have those collaborative spaces within an office. People want to be able to clean down their device, and our Elite and Z products and our displays and accessories can all be wiped down up to 1,000 times with household disinfectants. I said this to a customer a couple of months ago, and he said, "You're too late." I said, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "I've actually wiped off all the keys on my keyboard because I've been wiping down my device each day and there's no more keys." He goes, "I'm a touch typer, but I still need to see some reference of keys." And this is where you're able to wipe that down as you leave the office, as you share a computer with a child. You're able to wipe that down, keep it clean, and keep it ready for someone else the next time. So this is a really cool feature. Sustainability is very much at the heart of everyone at HP. We are very much on the journey of planet, people, and community, creating products with minimal impact on the planet, doing whatever we can for people, both customers, employees, partners, anyone we can, and also having an impact on the community, unlocking educational and economic opportunities through technology. Now, we've set a whole heap of sustainability journeys with, we recycle most of our ink and print toners. We do a lot of, most of it's all created through either 80 to 100% of recycled content. We're now using ocean-bound plastics, which is plastic that's been reclaimed from floating around the ocean, cleaned and reused in 50-odd products of ours. And this is just the start of our journey. We were one of the first ones to introduce a recycling program for PCs, but we're looking to become the most just PC manufacturer by 2030. And this is putting some lofty goals in place to start reducing our carbon emissions and starting to use remove single-use plastics from all of our products. We've already started with a lot of our devices being EPIC Gold Leadership, using recycled plastics. Our brand new Elite Dragonfly G2, it has 90% recycled magnesium. It has ocean-bound plastic in it. And if you go and recycle it properly after the device, you'll then be able to recycle 90% of that product again. So making sure our devices don't end up in landfill and don't end up. Some things are really hard to make. There's a lot of waste. Often end up in landfill. We try and avoid all that and try and have sustainable products. I love that our new boxes and packaging is all sustainable fiber and plastic free, meaning you don't have that black stuff or that hanging around going, does this go in the recycling? Does it go in the garbage bin? It all now goes in recycling. Okay, so this is where we're trying to become the most sustainable PC portfolio. And as I mentioned before, it doesn't matter if you're learning, if you're working, the PC is now essential. It's crucial. Students can't turn around to try and learn from a phone. They can't try and work from a phone or a tablet. They need to be productive and learning from everywhere. Now, very quickly, just the final couple of minutes, we have an education portfolio with our education editions tailored to this in space. rugged, reliable, huge range of securities and software solutions with this for the education space. Daniel's can help you guys out with this, but we go everywhere from Chrome all the way through to Windows. We offer 360 clamshell, 11-inch, 14-inch. We also offer a whole range of pen and touch inputs and a wide range of CPU offerings, Intel, AMD, MediaTek as an ARM-based solution, tailored for whatever type of workspace workflow you have in your education space. We also do this from our commercial space as well, from our 200 to our 1000 series, our LeapBook range, our ZBook series, as well as that whole, whatever your workflow is, we're able to support. And we don't want to just sit there with the notebook or the desktop. We want to help you with your whole desk, providing the right monitors, the right solutions, the right accessories, accessories that can be cleaned down, the right docking solution, anything we can to help you out with all of this VR. We've got some great VR solutions into that HP Reverb G2, where we partnered with Steam and Microsoft. And this really is a great headset and great for that educational space as well. Now, I will finish there. I think I'm just on time. Matt, how are we looking for any questions? I did see Q&A sort of pop up there.
Yeah, you've got 3 there in the Q&A. Yep.
I hope that I hit that that interest level for you, and some of those videos were entertaining for you.
Yeah, look, certainly before we get into questions, look, absolutely. As I said, for myself, having a long background in tertiary and private education, very interesting to see that change. Obviously, in the education space, we've sort of had the concept of BYO device for 15 years before the term was even coined. Really, university students had been bringing their own device and were allowed to connect to wireless, but not so much from a device perspective. For me, what's really interesting is that classroom environment. Certainly myself, I've had challenges where we've had requests in the past for students who are in hospital for long term, for a month or something like that. How do they continue to learn? We had a lot of overseas students at the school I worked at, and they, for whatever reason, medical reason or family death, would have to go back overseas, to England or somewhere like that. And it's like, but how do they continue their studies while they're on the other side of the planet? And it started us to think about technologies of how can remote teaching, which we'd seen in the tertiary sector, really come down to the K-12 sector. And you made a very key point, where how does the technology just become part of the classroom? We've been able to stream and we've been able to video record, but it's always been clunky. It always requires IT to be nearby or an AV specialist to be present. What's really great is to have technology just become integrated in the classroom and become easy to use, where teachers can be self-sufficient and really just enhance now that connection with students, whether they're still in front of them in the classroom, and that will be here for a long time to come. But really now just not disadvantaging any students for whatever reason that aren't being able to attend in person. So I think we're on the cusp of seeing really quality hybrid classrooms start to emerge. And I think it's going to be an explosive boom in the next couple of years. And COVID's obviously accelerated that. But just like COVID has helped us in working from home, and we're seeing hybrid work environments, we're going to see that type of hybrid classroom environment, I think, really expand. And certain kids, where I even know students, and some of them would suffer from potentially anxiety and other sort of, issues, where going into the classroom actually heightens that. So they want to learn from home, they're more comfortable from learning home, and their experience is better at home. So a hybrid environment, I love it. It's fantastic. There's some really cool technology in some of those videos, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of inquiries from the education attendees today on some of that technology. So that's fantastic.
And you are right, it is about choice. What is the right learning, working environment for that user? If I asked everyone here today, how do you like to work, or how do you like to learn? Everyone would have a completely different answer. And it's providing the right choice for the right people for their work style. Just seeing some of the questions, the noise reduction different from the NVIDIA RTX. That's based in the graphics card. We're based into the sound card. Both can work in tandem. Again, it's giving you the best solution. It's an option between the two. You can switch it on and off between the Bang & Olufsen sound controller of the system. You're able to switch it on and off. The AI-based noise suppression, how much extra load does it put onto the laptop? To be honest, I've never seen any load caused by it. It is a combination of the hardware through the system. So I can't give you an exact answer on that, but I've never seen it get affected. I'd probably have more issues with my bandwidth doing everything through that than probably what I have through the system and the system specs. Does presence detection differ for different users? If I jumped in front of your computer, it will anonymously detect me and then use Windows Hello to authenticate. If I'm not authenticated with that device, it's not going to log me in. It's only going to authenticate with the users that are authenticated with Windows Hello through that system. Same as walking up with your fingerprint, it'll only authenticate with your fingerprint. So it's a good sort of answer. I think that answers our questions. Matt, again, thank you very much for having me. I really enjoy your sessions. It's been great so far. Hope everyone's enjoyed that and got something out of it. Thanks again to BES. And if you have any questions, there's Stephen and Daniel that are available to help you guys out.
Thanks very much, Mark. Fabulous session. Have a great rest of your day.